Well, hey there, everybody. I'm Jack. This is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Another hot day here in the South. I will let you know when that changes, but that's probably going to be over in mid to late October sometime, so it'll be similar. Well, unless we get some tropical weather this year, we do start hurricane season next week, so never know. Never know in these parts. Anyhow, today I want to talk about why I follow a raw food diet. It's plain and simple. Guys, I do videos every day, so if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you'd go down and hit that subscribe button now. Then be sure you click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. I've talked about this before, but been asked this a lot lately. Must be some of the people that have crossed over from Instagram, and sometimes I don't even remember. Maybe they asked me about it over on Instagram. But why do I follow this raw food diet? Why do I do what I do? Why do I do it? How I do it? Well, I'm going to tell you why. And let me just tell you, first of all, let me tell you how and why my journey began. It was fear. It was fear, plain and simple. I had been a drunk for 30 years. That was probably the worst of things, but maybe not. Even though I considered that like to be my major problem, I had eaten a standard American diet for by the time I heard about this lifestyle for 48 years. So, fear. I got to a point where, I was like the last few drinking binges I went on, I was like, all right, look, this got to stop. This got to stop. You're getting older. You're approaching 50. So I basically started out like that. I knew I was going to have a bill to pay. I knew the tab, I'll use an old term from when I was my drinking days. I knew the tab was going to come due fairly soon at some point, and that it might be something that I didn't want to pay, or that I really didn't want, that was not fun to pay, i.e. in the way of, maybe a heart attack, cancer. I worried more about my liver. So when I first got into this thing, everything I was doing was honed in on, and when I first got into this thing, the path started before I knew about the raw vegan thing or was even doing plant-based. The path was just simply about, okay, I'm afraid of my liver. You had always heard, like, people that drink excessively have liver problems. But I was also afraid of cancer because, that's one thing a lot of people don't know with the alcohol, that alcohol highly increases your chances of other cancers. I think I was seeing pancreatic cancer the other day, and definitely cancers of the throat, the mouth, and such. So yeah, I just basically, and that was where my journey actually began. That was the first few steps, was researching things. What can I do? What can I do to reverse this damage? I had stopped drinking. I was like, okay, now I'm looking at antioxidants, things to repair my liver. So I'm researching things about the liver. I'm researching things about antioxidants. I'm going through a lot of different phases. And I'll be honest with you, by the time I started my journey about 6 months before I went raw vegan, and I had already started making those changes. And this is real interesting. I always like to throw this in. That this was just my natural instinct. In those 6 months leading up to me going raw and going vegan, I had been just instinctively lowering my animal products. When I came to the point where I went raw vegan, I had reduced like I say, I hadn't read anything about plant-based or vegan. I had just naturally reduced my consumption of animal products because it just made sense to my body, and that's what my body was telling me to do. I was probably only eating meat like 2 or 3 times a week in small portions down in Costa Rica. They don't like fill the plate with meat and then have a lot of little stuff. So I was maybe eating meat 2 or 3 times a week. I still ate some eggs. I didn't drink milk hardly ever, but I did use cheese from then now and again. So then I came to this lifestyle, and I just kind of continued where I was going. I started learning all this natural stuff, and I started learning, how to feel a lot better. I started learning how to actually expel some of this stuff out of my body. And yes, we do even though I'm not a big fan of the constant detox talk, I did have a lot to detox out of my body. So I started learning, but that was the main reason that I came to it, because I was afraid of the tab that I was going to have to pay. Now, as I've progressed, I've learned a lot. I've changed things. I was a little, I could have probably gone either way. You know, I saw a little bit of the woo-woo stuff in the beginning, and my mind wasn't quite as strong in the beginning because I had drank away brain cells for some years, and the woo-woo could have like lured me in. And I watched a lot of that stuff that was just always babbling. I watched the people that never ate. I watched the people that just continuously drank juice and fasted, and that's all they were talking about. Detox and fasting, detox and drinking juice, another juice feast, another juice fast, worms, parasites, islands, and they were all into these little buzzwords. When I was just looking, my path was like, I had tunnel vision. I was just looking for my quickest way to healing, my quickest way to feeling better. And in the beginning, I didn't eat near enough, and I got way too skinny. At 6'2", I got to about 143 pounds, 144 pounds. And that's why you can listen, you can maintain weight on this raw food diet, but it's a struggle to put that weight back on, and that's why I do eat some cooked from time to time. But that's, that's the reason I do. And the reason I continue to do it, and also too, how have I arrived at the way that I'm doing this? Because it's almost like you're going through the jungle, like you're a rhino going through the jungle. People are throwing spear. Well, that's stupid. Well, you should do it this way. Random advice, unsolicited advice. You know, this, that. Do it like this. Do it like that. I've got the way. I'm the doing it right. Blah, blah, blah. I've blocked all that shit out. All that stuff out. I steer my ship when it comes to what I'm putting in my body, and I take the responsibility for that. Ain't nobody else's fault if if things go wrong or whatever. And I've done a nice mix of listening to my body, using intuition, using body intuition. But before you go thinking, talking some more hippie stuff, but I balance that with studying. I balance that with reading stuff about this subject, and I tend to go more for the science-based stuff. I tend to go more for good explanations on this, and less of the just kind of esoteric BS that's the vibration. I mean, yeah, food does have a vibration, but I'm more interested in the nuts and bolts than the vibration of the food or whatever. So the reason, and I'm not going to change my mind. And it's kind of funny because even after all this time, people try to draw me into arguments, draw me into these discussions, tell me I'm doing this wrong, blah, blah, blah. You look horrible, you look malnourished, you look this, you look that. All that stuff I filter out. I'm doing what I think is right for me, and that's how I'm going to keep on doing it. And another reason too, and I was thinking about this the other day, and I was talking about this with some friends. I don't have health insurance. So I'm really serious about, getting as much nutrition in my body as possible, getting as much protection against anything that can come up as possible, because I'm not necessarily one of those people that's just, this will protect us from everything. We're disease proof, nothing can happen. Whatever. As you get old, you start thinking a little bit about this, and I hit my senior citizen age this year at 55, and I'm okay with that. Don't always try to make me feel good. Other people have hang-ups on age. Anytime I mention age, people rush, oh, you're not old, you're not this and that. I'm like, you don't have to. I have plenty of confidence. I have plenty of self-esteem. You don't have to boost me. The only people that use phrases like you're only as old as you feel are people that are old. Age is just a number. You don't hear too many young people saying that. It's usually old people trying to convince themselves, I'm comfortable in this body, I'm comfortable in this skin, I'm old as hell, I'm good with it. But in all seriousness, yes, I look at this as somebody that doesn't have health insurance right now, and I will, if it works into my budget, hopefully within the next 2 years with these business things taking off, I will get it again. I know I hear some of the people, nope, I don't have it because I wouldn't do this and that. You start thinking about more. There's more than internal disease. There's like getting in a car wreck. There's like, hey, you blow your knee out and don't have insurance. Here's a good one for you. You somehow blow your knee out, have ACL surgery or something, and you don't have insurance. You ain't getting no rehab, dude, if you even get the surgery. So there are things beyond what food can just do for your body and disease prevention out there. So I do what I do. There's never going to be a voice that gets in my ear. There's never going to be a comment here. There's never going to be a comment on Instagram. There's never going to be somebody calling me out and telling me this. There's never going to be the next great person doing a video. Now, if I make any changes, if I do anything different at some point, it's because of just like I'm steering my ship. I take in all the data and I adjust my course accordingly after researching things that I'm looking at, not just by random stuff that's coming in. If I chase down every random thing that people tell me, hey, you should look into this, or hey, what about this? I'd be spending my whole day just, chasing my tail. So that's why I follow this raw food diet. It's plain and simple for me. I've decided for me that it's the best protection going into my golden years of life. So anyhow, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.